Hi everyone, and welcome to Weekly Cooking with Becky. If you saw last week's video, you know that we are making a dessert with regular ingredients, and I'm swapping out some ingredients to make it low carb friendly. It will also qualify as dirty keto or lazy keto. We are actually making Chewy Butterscotch Blondies. The original recipe I will have linked. However, it's an oldie but goodie. We're gonna make some swaps. So right now in a bowl, I have melted butter, vanilla, and eggs. In the description, the link will be there with everything. Now it is time to add the brown sugar, but wait, we can't do that. So we're gonna add Swerve. Now, what I'm gonna tell you about this particular thing is that you really want a good packing brown sugar. One of the things about Swerve is, I'm actually gonna tilt the camera down here in a second. You see, you might get my cat's head in here because she's like sitting right there. Because it literally is one big clump. Yep, there's my cat. I'm using a third cup because these bags are kind of small, so I gotta fit in enough scoops. But you want a good packing brown sugar. Now, if you are a Lakanto fan, because some people have their, what do you call it, brand of choice, please measure out the amount that it tells you, and then add some molasses until you get this consistency. Otherwise, you're not gonna have a chewy butterscotch brownie. It's gonna be more dry. And I'm just being open and honest with you because we don't want that. That's 1 cup, and it does call for 2. It calls for, well, we're making a 9x13 pan. You're more than welcome to half this recipe. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add another cup, and I'm going to whisk it, and that's gonna be my wet ingredients. I'm gonna set it aside, and I'm gonna meet you back for my dry ingredients and tell you my next swap. See you in a second. Okay, so in this bowl, we have sitting our Swerve as our brown sugar with butter, eggs, and vanilla. Now, in this bowl, I have what's called Keto wheat baking flour. Measures 1 for 1 with all-purpose flour. Each serving is 8 total carbs with 4 fiber, which means it is 4 net carbs per serving. So this is where it's definitely low carb. It's not gluten-free, so it would fall into the lazy, dirty keto, not clean keto. So this is where I'm gonna make my switch. But we're gonna use this instead and use the same amount that it asked for all-purpose flour. And then it calls for baking soda and a little bit of salt. And I'm using my whisk. So I've already done that, but for the time, it now wants us to fold in our wet and our dry. So down here, you can see it's a little bit of a different consistency, but it's still a good kind of floury base. Okay, so now everything else from here is folding. So I'm gonna take our brown sugar Swerve and our eggs and our butter and vanilla. I'm gonna add it to, and we're going to fold this all in. And I think my cat might show up. Oh, I can see. She's not supposed to be up here. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna spend a few minutes just folding. It is gonna take a few because the brown sugar is kind of thick. So you're just gonna kind of marry the two together, fold as best as you can. I'll see you back here when this is done. And then we have one last tweak. One last. I'll see you in a minute. All right, time for our last swap. Guys, I think you have to go ChocZero on this one. There was a time I could find Butterscotch in both Lily's and Baked Believe, and I can't find them anymore. I find sea salted caramel. So we really, really want to make Butterscotch Blondies. So you can definitely order these. The good thing about them is the bag is huge. So you can have enough to make this and still have enough to make your magic bars and whatever else. I'm gonna have these probably for a year. So you get a big bag for your money. Having said that, we need a cup and a half. Let me just measure. Oops, I just dropped one on the floor. All right, so we now have a cup and a half. The difference with these ones, I'm trying to see what the sweetener is. Ingredients. Fruit extract. Oh, sugar, alcohol, none. Total sugar is none. It says caramel flavor. Oh, monk fruit. Monk fruit. It is not stevia, which is what the other chips are. So I have this now on top of the batter. I'm gonna stir it in and then we're gonna put it into the pan. Be right back. Okay, so you put it into a 9x13 pan. Make sure it is parchment lined and greased. Fills out nicely. And you bake it for 25 to 30 minutes. Now, I have not made this recipe the low carb way. I've only done it the old fashioned way, so I'm actually gonna check at 20 and go from there. You want a toothpick to come out with a few moist crumbs, and that's when it will be done. And then we'll cool. I always do the taste test warm, and you can leave it on the counter for 3 to 4 days, fridge for a couple weeks, and then the freezer for a couple months. All right, and all of the nutrition facts I have done for you. It only has 2 carbs per serving, so yes. All right, I will be back for the taste test. All right, it is time for a taste test. They look amazing. They're nice and thick. By the way, when I did the measurements, I did them for 15 bars. Okay, so the original recipe says either 12 or 16, and I did it as 15, so you'll cut them 3 by 5. And mine ended up cooking for, it says 25 to 30, right about 28 minutes was what mine was. All right, here we go. Nice and chewy. All right, guys, these are good. These are so good. They literally taste like chewy butterscotch Blondies. I am so happy with them. If you're not living a strict keto lifestyle, if you're living low carb, healthy living, you're watching your diabetes, lazy keto, things like that, and you're watching your carb intake, but you can have some gluten, this is a win-win. It does come in at 250 calories, so it is a one treat afternoon. That's like all you're gonna have, but it's only 2 net carbs. So with that said, that's amazing. That's the same as a Quest protein cookie, guys. That is really, really amazing, and the taste is spot on, and it's just got that delicious homemade flavor. So I will link the original recipe, and I will put in the nutrition facts to the swaps should you decide to go with, and I will tell you it was the King Arthur's baking blend, but I'll put all of those swaps in there. Should you decide to go that way, you can have a great treat, enjoy it, and not feel guilty. So I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you next time. Bye.